Welcome everybody to another Nerd Corner. It's a horror corner. Hello.
That too.
Yes. Well, it's part of the Nerd Corner family. So, welcome everybody. My name is JPOOL, and once again, I am joined by my co-host LC.
How's it going?
Fine, fine. Yeah, so I decided to put sort of a noise suppression on my mic, so because I want my air conditioner on, and last time I had to turn it off, and it was too hot, way too hot.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
not,
Memorial Day is an oven. It is not pleasant today.
it's not fun. Well, it's nice that hey, have a day off if you're not working, but still, it's unless it's getting a little cloudier in my area because there's a storm coming. But
Yeah, it's super windy here. Super windy.
hopefully you don't have any trees that'll fall on anything.
I don't think so. I went for a walk last night and it started raining, which was nice. I was hoping it would rain more than it did. It just kind of breezed through, but it looks like it's trying to monsoon or something. Would be nice.
Yes, or something. So, by your background, we are reviewing the 2004 Dawn of the Dead, directed by directed by Zack Snyder.
Yes.
The Snyderverse.
The Snyderverse. So this was his first. This was his debut.
Yes, and
Stepping onto the scene in a big way. Running onto the scene even.
definitely with a screenplay by James Gunn. So you have two, heavyweights. Today, they're two big heavyweights in the movie
He's
industry.
Guardians, right? Guardians? Isn't that
Yes.
James Gunn?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And then
Yeah, this movie feels more action packed as well than a typical horror movie. So it makes sense, you have these two collabing and coming up with something that's a little bit more action horror.
oh yeah, it is one of those like classic remakes that really holds up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, and we're gonna get a little into it a little later about some of the cool special effects in here and the makeup that they use. But yeah, it's a remake of George A. Romero's 1978 film of the same name, Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And my question to you is, slow zombies or fast moving zombies?
There's a world for both. Honestly, I think the real because I mean, okay, Night of the Living Dead, that had to be the way that it was. And we've talked about the remake of Night of the Living Dead as well. When it comes to Night of the Living Dead original, OG and remake, I'm a purist. I'm going to, go for the George A. Romero every single time. When it comes to Dawn of the Dead, I like this version better. Which, again, hate mail. We'll launch socials at the end, but I had a hard time with the original Dawn of the Dead. I don't know. It felt a little too campy. This one felt real and much more exciting. I feel like the whole mall idea, the setup for this particular movie, it needs more action. It needs to be more fast paced. So I do think there's a world for both. I love Train to Busan. I love World War Z. Um, this particular film, fast all the way.
Yeah, and you don't want to be killed by slow moving zombies. That would be just,
I mean, okay, so now you're kind of twisting it a little bit here. If it's which would you rather be pursued by? I'm taking slow zombies. No, I don't want to be killed by a slow zombie, but I'd rather take my chances against a slow zombie for sure. These
yeah.
guys they're not messing around.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, and then you have like the question of like giant hordes of slow moving zombies or a handful of fast moving zombies.
Well, there is definitely a giant horde of, and I think they're these fast folk, but they're moving slow because there's no room to go in this film. And that, much like World War Z's like stacked up anthill o zombies, that is frightening. Too many zombies is probably the scariest.
Oh yes, definitely. So this movie takes place somewhere in the Milwaukee area, with a character named Anna. It starts off with a character named Anna, and she's played by Sarah Polley. In fact, I haven't seen anything Sarah Polley's done lately, so I don't know where she is as an actress. But she is, returning home after her shift at the hospital. If I remember correctly, she's a
An
nurse.
ICU
Yeah,
nurse.
yeah, she's a nurse,
Mhm.
I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's just getting off her shift at work, and getting back to her husband, going home, and as she's going home, there are reports of weird things happening around the country, but
Mhm.
you're tired. You just got off. I don't know how many hours shift you got off. My sister's a nurse. It's a long
Yeah.
shift, and
Mhm. Seems like she worked a double.
that'd be
Hmm.
exhausting. Yeah, it'd be like I'd be dead on my feet. Like, you don't want me
Mhm.
to stick a needle in you right now. I am so tired. That's that's why they have those on-call beds.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so she decides, she gets home, husband's there. She goes to bed, and then the morning comes, and there's a
All
girl.
hell breaks loose.
Yes, well, a girl that she knows too. She's like a neighbor.
It's little Vivian. Yeah,
Yeah,
little Vivian,
yeah, and
who is, yeah, she passes her on the way in, and she's sweet. She's like, "Hey, look, I'm roller skating. Look at me, Anna." Yeah, just the friendly little neighbor kid, which, kids are strange. Kids are cool. Kids are not cool when they appear in your bedroom,
nope, they're not, and
when they're not yours.
especially when they're horribly injured and bleeding out, and just staring at you like
Yeah,
your lunch.
yeah, I don't know how I would feel, honestly, if I woke up in the morning and one of the neighbors' kids was in my bedroom door. That's dis certainly disquieting right there, but yeah, she's poor little Vivian. She's not herself.
Nope. And she ends up jumping on top of Lewis and her, Anna's husband, and you know, tearing out his neck.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
poor Lewis bleeds out and dies, and turns really, really quickly. Now, even with The Walking Dead, it takes some time, even after post mortem, turn into a zombie.
Mm,
This
yeah.
is fast. This is really fast moving infection.
I feel like, I haven't taken a lot of time to analyze this, but now that you mention it, I'm considering various transitions within this movie, and I don't know if they intended to do it or not, but it feels like the transition almost happens more quickly with people who are sort of like, younger and in better shape than it does with people who are maybe, compromised in some sort of way. Um, it, her husband, you called it. He's like immediately zombified and coming at her.
Well, he
There's,
dies first. He dies
everybody's,
first.
yeah, yeah. But he's quick. Other people in the movie later, it's still quick, all things considered to other movies. But, there's a little bit of time sometimes if maybe someone, is unhealthy or dare I say pregnant. So, a little frightening.
Yeah, definitely. And in here, we after he's basically resurrected, and she's on the phone with 911, saying her husband was attacked, and she needs help. She turns around, and he has risen out of the bed, and then turns around really quickly and attacks her.
Yeah.
And so she like runs to the bathroom, falls into the tub. Really, actually dangerous stunt right there.
Mm,
Because I don't think that was actually Sarah Polley. I think that was her stunt double. And
okay.
you have to be very careful with tub stunts because things can go wrong. Because you have a small
They're not
area to land. It looks like a
Mhm.
brutal like fall. Like if you do it wrong, you can like break something
It's
badly.
gonna leave a mark. That's
Yeah,
gonna leave a mark.
definitely. And then she's hoping that Lewis is okay, even though he's not. And then he just smashes his way right through the door, sort of like here's Johnny type of
Right.
situation. She's able to get out of the bathroom window, and she's sort of in a daze when she gets outside because there's just
Mhm.
chaos. There's chaos
Yeah.
going on, and she's trying to get in her car, and her neighbor is like in the middle of the street telling her to get back, because he doesn't know if he can trust her. She has blood all over herself, so he
Mhm.
doesn't know if she's been bitten. And then
Right.
I guess he wasn't paying attention, and then he gets what was he get his by an ambulance, I think.
Ambulance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like that's not how they're supposed to work. They're not supposed to
Mm.
make the victims. They're supposed to save them. But I'm guessing
Yeah, she's
I was guessing there was a zombie in the ambulance to distract them from everything around them.
something's going on. Yeah, it pandemonium is the word. Chaos breaking out. There's the one of my least favorite things in movies like this. Just like one of those like ugh, moments. She try almost gets like carjacked in her little Corolla at this point too, and she manages to evade this guy kind of. But that's always in any zombie apocalypse movie or contagion type of film, the breakdown of humanity and people just trying to take things from other people, always the worst for me, for sure.
Oh yeah,
But
or
yeah,
what?
she crashes into. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, we'll get into that. No, there's also like those tropes where there are people on the side of the road and they're like, our car broke down, we need help, and you're
Hmm.
like, I don't know if I can trust you now. Everybody seems to be going crazy. They did that in like The Last of Us too, where they have to
Hmm.
go by a family because they're like, we don't know if you're infected. We don't even know what's going on. We just know that
Right.
right now everybody in this vehicle is the only people we can trust.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a moment for sure. You gotta love it in some movies where they actually stop and take the risk and everything turns out okay. It doesn't happen all too often, but this guy's just a jerk. He's, trying to take her car from her and awful.
Yeah, I like the zoom out. I don't know if they used basically a
Mhm.
helicopter or anything like that. I don't know if there were like really good drones back in 2004 to zoom out like that, but this really cool zoom out where we get to see the city in the distance and things burning, and a vehicle
Mhm.
flies into a gas station and blows up, and just there's just massive chaos all around, and she sees like a bus full of people just getting completely massacred, and
Yeah.
she
Yeah, that exploding truck whole thing is a call out to Night of the Living Dead. That's one of the stories that's told in it, which I thought was such a great moment. There's lots of little Easter eggs in this for Romero fans. But I agree that pan out as yeah, I think we've seen this, I mean, it's done in a lot of movies, but when you and I talked about Resident Evil and some of the other flicks that we've reviewed, that seems to be a favorite of both of ours. That pan out to, oh look, everything's everything's messed up. It's a nightmare. So,
Yeah, and you could really call back to like Romero. I mean, like Romero was one of the
hmm,
early. He's basically the father of zombies, or
yeah,
modern day
yep,
zombies. And so we get Anna crashes, ends up crashing into basically uh, a hill and sort of not a ditch, but like into it, and ends up into a
free,
tree, and
yeah,
she is now unconscious, and now we get fade to black, and then we get this whole awesome
fade to
intro.
black.
Yes.
Good, good, nice call out.
Yeah.
Pun.
Fun. And then we get this awesome intro with Johnny Cash's "When a Man Comes Around," where
Hmm.
they're, um, looking on, where they're talking on the news about this infection and how even people, at the CDC, they don't know what it is. They don't know what's going on. They just know how it's being spread and how it's rapidly, circling the globe. And they basically the press is asking like, what are these things, and they're like, we don't know. um
Yeah.
and it's just showing the chaos, and then they get like a lot of like footage from riots around the world,
Hmm.
that are footage from other things, but to really put in perspective that society is breaking down completely.
Yeah. Zack Snyder is actually cameoed in one of those little sequences, doing some military action. But that kickoff, after such a chaotic kickoff, which is notable, for sure. The opening sequence it's one of those opening sequences that goes down in the genre history, for a lot of reasons. One which is my personal Achilles, but when you hit the point after this wild ride and you get when the man comes around, it's just such a great moment. And this film has the best soundtrack, honestly. The way that I talked about this in other movies, but the way that they use music throughout to bring the story along and with the pacing, I think it's great. But I also love opening sequence, final sequence. They keep you going. You're still getting imagery throughout the entirety of the movie, which is nice as well, instead of just, credits over, blank screen, music or stills. You're getting action from start to finish.
Yeah, most definitely. Good, very good music, that's been placed in this film. So Anna, uh, at the end of the credits, Anna wakes up, and she's basically at the end of a gun.
Yeah,
And this the police sergeant, Kenneth Hall. Um,
Marcellus Wallace.
yes, and Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames, Marcellus. I'm like Marcellus Wallace. All right.
Uh, you need
I
a
love Ving Rhames.
you need a big black strong man. Get Ving Rhames.
I love him. I really do. He's such an incredible. I don't know. I always kind of like think back to Lilo and Stitch too. But I'm a huge Ving Rhames fan for sure.
Yeah, which confuses me why they didn't get him again for the live action one. But
That would have been great.
yes, there's no callback to that. Like, come on, he's still alive.
Mm.
But yeah, and then we get introduced to an electronic salesman, Michael, and then we get Andre, which apparently he's a criminal with his pregnant wife, Luda.
Yeah. Late 90s heartthrob Mackay Pfeiffer.
Mackay Pfeiffer.
Um
Yeah, before 8 Mile.
Yeah. Well, and then Michael, this character, I'm Jake Weber. I'm looking at him and I'm like, how do I know this guy? What film? And I started getting him a little confused with one of the actors from a lot of Tarantino flicks, Tim Roth. And I'm like, no, okay, it's not Tim Roth. I don't know if I don't know if you watched this, but he was the husband on a show with Patricia Arquette called Medium that came out in the early aughts as well that I loved. He just plays like every nice guy. He kind of has that shtick about him. Um, so I good casting in this too. I'm sure we'll continue to talk about that throughout this. I think it was a lot of people sort of early in their careers, like how you said, Mackay Pfeiffer pre 8 Mile. But a lot of these actors went on to, play major parts in TV series and movies, producing, directing. So it's very much a well casted who's who now, looking back.
Oh yeah. And so, if I remember correctly, they were a part of a group that was much larger, and this is all that's left.
Yep, yep.
That's always usually what happens. There's even a trope like that in the upcoming review we're going to do, Shaun of the Dead, where they run into a group and like, well, yes, we had a bigger group with us, and we're it.
Mhm.
So yeah, they decide to get away from that area because it's getting more dangerous to stay, and they find the local shopping mall.
You know, I this is where I'm going if there's a zombie apocalypse. I'm going to the mall.
I'm going to Costco.
Hopefully one that's not a debt. I mean, that's a really good
I'm
idea
going to
too.
Costco because
Actually, that's a great premise.
survive. I have a
Write that.
Costco literally down the street from me, 27th
Mhm,
Avenue, just like right off the 101. It's like right there. So
mhm.
it's just like I can walk to it. It's so
Yeah,
if there's a well, I'm going to the Philippines, so we have something similar. We have something
okay.
similar. It's actually the stores they have there are actually um, one of the original founders of Costco actually founded those stores. So
Oh, cool. Nice.
I saw some pictures of the inside. I'm like, wait a minute, that's just Costco under a different name. Wait a second, and then I looked up who actually founded it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's why they look alike. But yeah, you want to be at one of those warehouse food places. I mean, malls are
Mhm.
cool, but they're not really all food based. Now they have got some cool stuff to be able to survive.
Well, you got sporting goods stores
Sporting
in malls, which
goods,
right
yeah.
there, now you've got some, and that's, I think, one of the only ways that this really works. When there was a couple of times in this movie where I'm like, well, wait a minute. How are they doing? Oh, yeah, well, sporting goods, I mean, technically they're going to have some sort of a, repair type of situation underneath the mall. They have to have a pretty big engineering department. So a lot of the pieces of the movie that you could try and pick apart, I think actually work out pretty well because it is a mall. And I mean, honestly, you've got books and you've got toys, and there's a lot going on in a mall that can keep you occupied while you're waiting out, waiting for the military to show up or whatever your scheme is.
Oh yeah. And so we get this scene where they enter the mall, and then are immediately attacked by an infected security guard. Then
Hmm.
um, three other guards come out of the woodwork that are not infected, and they're the
But might as
ones.
well be.
Well, they're doing their job. Okay, they're trying to. They're not getting paid for nothing, right? They may not
Yeah.
be getting paid
Well, he
anymore.
earning his keep for sure in the beginning of this movie. CJ's kind of a dick.
CJ's kind of a dick, and you look back now and you're realizing that,
Hmm.
you know, you compare him to somebody like the governor or Negan. He's trying to keep
Hmm.
order where there is no
Yeah.
order, and he may sound like a dick, but he is trying to do what he's been trained to do. He's not military.
Well, yeah.
But he's been trained to be a security guard to guard the mall.
Yeah, and he becomes a real one anyway, so I
Yeah.
think the humanity around him, like, slowly breaks him down, which is cool. But Michael Kelly of, House of Cards fame, and yeah, he's a brilliant actor and director himself now, so
Oh yeah. And so we get after they basically disarm everybody because especially being Raim's character, because
mhm,
even though
sure,
he's a police
sure.
officer, they have more guns.
Yeah, they certainly have a stronghold for sure.
um, anyway, they see another survivor, Andy. That's it's a whole story. There's a whole other story that we later on find out. I think it's in the like deleted scenes or extra scenes in the DVD or something like that about Andy across from the mall in his basically held up in his gun store because he's being surrounded by zombies, and he's just
Yeah.
he's just taking pot shots at zombies this whole time.
love this whole, character development around that. I think it does something so well for this movie in that it really, I mean, zombie movies, especially ones where you've got running zombies, they can be action packed. It can move really fast, and because there's so much going on, you don't oftentimes have a lot of time to develop any sort of feelings around any of the characters. And this movie, it spends the time, it takes the time to do that. And Andy's character, I think, is a big piece of that. They do that with, most of the characters. I feel like they give everybody enough of a backstory to where you get some sort of an emotional, feeling around each person, like what we were talking about with CJ and how he develops. But Andy's character, man, that's a heartbreaker. I liked Andy. I liked the whole Andy Sergeant Kenneth, up on the roof calling out zombies that look like celebrities. They communicate back and forth
They
with
play games with each
whiteboards.
other. Yeah, they play games with each
Yeah, it's
other.
because what else are you gonna do? They're like, take out Tom Selleck and boom. It's yeah, there's this kind of cool relationship that winds up developing there.
So the next day, we get another group of survivors that come in on a truck, and CJ and Bart, the two security guards, are completely against letting anybody in because
Mm.
right now, even this, they're watching. They have a electronics section in the mall, and they've been watching the news and trying to keep up to date with what's going on in the world in general, not just locally. And right now they don't particularly know how the infection is spreading. And for Anna,
Mhm.
in my opinion, Anna should have been more like understanding of like, yes, we have to even check ourselves and make sure that we're not infected.
Mhm.
I guess she forgot her nursing skills. I don't know.
Yeah. She's a young nurse, and I
She's a
mean,
young
they're
nurse.
picking up, like, moments like, the one cool moment on they have those, these little great, um, bring backs from the OG Dawn of the Dead, but they're watching TV and they learn, well, you shoot them in the head, that's how you take them out, and then you set them on fire, which is, Tom Savini, so close to my heart, one of everybody's fan favorites. Um, so they know, yeah, like you said, they know it's spreading and they know how you kill them, but it is still a little interesting that they're not quite picking up the transmission piece of it, especially because this whole time we've got Andre Mackay Pfeiffer, his wife Luda, who's pregnant, and she's been bit this whole time.
Yeah,
She's has a laceration from being bit on the arm, and he's kind of separate. I think kind of maybe in his mind he knows something's up, but he segregates him and his wife away from the rest of the group, maybe because he's being protective, soon to be a new father, pregnant wife, maybe also because he has some feeling about how this is going to go based on what they're experiencing.
yeah. Especially if they have seen people turn. You kind of have to put like two and two together after like maybe the second or third person you've seen turn. Like, well,
Right.
so it's not airborne because
Right.
like in The Walking Dead, we found out that the virus is airborne. It's not just being bitten. You can die without being bitten and turn in the Walking
Hmm.
Dead universe. So that was actually a really huge twist for that series. That it's not supernatural. It's not like viral where you have to be blood infection or anything else like that. Um, but or saliva. It is in the air and everyone is infected,
Hmm.
no matter what.
Yeah. You're
So
doomed.
yeah, you're doomed if you die. If you die, you have to be just like stabbed in the
Mm-hmm.
head, in the brain. But here, you have to be scratched or bitten, basically, for it to
Mhm.
be transmitted into your body.
Like
And
blood to blood contact,
yeah,
because
definitely
we
blood
get
to
that
blood.
weird scene later with Steve, yeah.
So yeah, and for some people, especially if you're alive, somewhat healthy, and you haven't died yet, the infection will slowly move through your body. So uh, we get the newcomers that the security guards didn't want to bring in. We get Norma, Steve, Tucker, Monica, Glenn, Frank, and Frank's daughter Nicole, and they're carrying, I think, what was it, in a wheelbarrow? This very
Yeah, yeah.
large and like very ill
Mhm.
woman.
Very gray, that's I'm looking at this like, Anna,
And
come
you're our
on.
nurse, right? She's not in sepsis. She's clearly
Mm,
not like you know she's dying or she's already
yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, it's they bring in this giant woman, I believe on a wheelbarrow, and the then they find out that that bites spread the infection. They finally figure that out. Um, but the woman ends up you know getting killed because because she completely turns
Yeah.
and it's like, you just brought infected in here. This like CJ's pissed. He's so
Mhm.
pissed that he brought it in the mall. Like he was trying to keep
Yeah.
it out of the mall. And you can hate CJ all you
Mhm.
want. Like back when I first saw it, I thought CJ
Mhm.
was such an asshole. But I'm like, you know what? He's trying to secure the mall from being completely overrun by zombies or by the undead.
Well,
And you're just
it's
bringing in more infected people.
right. It is such a great this movie really gives a lot of character play because you've got CJ at the beginning who, he kind of becomes a real one later on in the movie. You've also got you mentioned Steve coming in. Steve's played by Ty Burrell from Modern Family, which is, awesome to see him as he's a dick. He's
Oh, he
like
makes
this
CJ
kind
look
of
like a
yuppie.
saint. He makes CJ look like
Yeah,
a
he's
saint.
sarcastic as all get out. He's just a total jerk and he doubles down. It
Oh
just
my goodness.
continues to get worse. So yeah, I love this moment because you've got Steve in there just being a total sarcastic jerk and CJ and this whole like argument about, well, what are we going to do if somebody's bitten? Do we kill them? Because yeah, I love that you knew all of the people's names. Nicole's father, I
Well,
think,
I'm
was
loading up a
Frank.
list. I'm loading up a list.
Oh,
So
smart.
yes.
Uh, Once the whole second group started arriving, I'm like, oh boy, my notes start to get wonky with it. I'm like, the dad. But he's been bit, and they have this sort of moral dilemma. Now they know after the older woman that came in on the wheelbarrow turns. It's like, okay, well, what do we do? And poor Nicole, the dad, talks about how she's basically lost everybody. And now she's gets to rationalize that they're gonna, take her father in a back room and take him out. But I do like that they wait until he turns. They don't just, take him out while he's still Frank.
Yeah. I mean, and that would suck. But like, if I was infected and there was no way for a cure to be at the
Hmm.
time, it would be like I'm not going to put everybody else at risk. And there's a
Yeah.
character in here that actually makes like the ultimate sacrifice in the end. And it's like I I want to go out the way I want to go out. I don't want to end up hurting somebody else because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like flashing back to a lot of like I'm flashing back to The Descent and you know, oh goodness, names are escaping me without my notes, but putting a friend out of their misery when they're injured in a cave and you're being surrounded, or
Yeah, yeah, Descent.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, Resident Evil, like, "Just go, leave me," and, we've got somebody who that's such a horror movie trope that I think doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's, a big part of a lot of these survivor style movies where you're battling something and, you, many times are gonna have a character who is going to do the ultimate taking one for the team, right? Um, you got a couple of scenes kind of like that in this movie.
Oh yeah,
Everybody that
definitely.
you wind up really liking in the end.
No, I like how like Officer Kenneth basically, or Sergeant Kenneth basically does,
Mhm.
the deed and takes out Frank because like he is the officer, so it's sort of like
Mhm.
his job, for law and order, and everybody else basically is a civilian.
Yeah.
And so for him to do it, it's sad, but it had to be done. And
Mhm.
they waited near the end, for Frank to be completely gone before the deed had to be done. So
Yeah. And then Zach, after you have this terribly emotional moment in the film, decides to lighten the mood with Robert Cheese's cover of
Richard Cheese,
Disturbed's
Richard
Get.
Cheese,
Oh, is it Richard?
Richard Cheese.
Richard
I have the
Cheese.
album. I actually
I'd
have the
never
album.
Yeah, Get Down with the Sick. Yeah, and to get down with the sickness,
Yeah, it's by
which is
Disturbed,
just so great.
like a very
Mhm.
jazzy version of Disturbed's "Down with the Sickness."
Hey,
But I have the Richard
so
Cheese
great.
album, so
That's awesome.
I,
That's awesome.
I actually bought it right after I saw this film. So like, I need to get this. This is actually funny, and so like,
I had never heard of him from any other movie other than this one. Is he like a Weird Al Yankovic kind of, or is it
yeah,
just all?
his music doesn't usually show up in movies. It's more of he
Mhm.
does covers of other songs and makes them very jazzy club feeling to it.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's the way they do it because it's to a sex scene in here.
Mhm.
So
That's great. That's great.
then we get we find out that Luda has been scratched and that she's been hiding
Mhm.
the wound, and Andre knows about this the whole time. And so after everyone finds out that it's between scratches or bites, he's like, I need to protect my wife and my baby, and I need to keep it from
Yeah.
everybody else to make sure that you know. But he's putting everybody else in danger now.
Right. Right.
He's got
And the power goes out,
and the power goes out. Well,
which this is why I wouldn't want to be at Costco.
unless well, they have generators. They have backup generators actually.
Oh,
Costco.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
So
Fair. Because
so
I'm thinking about the loss of frozen food along with loss of life.
well,
It's
there was
really
supposed to
Costco.
be enough power to last them for like a year and a half or 2 years. At least that's what the security guards had calculated. But something is messing with the power around there. Somebody, and unfortunately, even with that length of time, the uh, the power lines and the generators need to be constantly maintained, by
Mhm.
professionals. Otherwise, power is not going to flow correctly. So the smallest
Mhm.
thing could actually disrupt electrical flow to the mall. So even if you do have enough power, if you don't have any backups, below running on gas or anything else like that, you're kind of screwed. So
You're in trouble.
you're in deep doo doo.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a really complicated situation because Andre was really trying to protect his wife, and unfortunately, because she's infected, that means the baby's infected,
Mhm.
and we get a really
Which,
oh, go on.
yeah, I love that they didn't, instantly like it was a question for a very long time until you had suspicions, but the entire this entire scene, you're not seeing the baby until the very last second. So you're like, I hope that the baby's okay. And the baby's not.
No,
The baby's
uh,
very much not okay.
so they have to go down to the garage to figure out, basically get the power going back on. The
Mhm.
emergency generators down there, and we find out that it's been breached, and there are
Mhm.
zombies. There's this really cool and creepy like jump scare zombie that is like legless and
Yeah.
hanging from a pipe coming down on them. And I
Mhm.
was going to say this at the beginning, but I wanted to leave it up to these parts. So all the zombies in here that are limbless, that don't have limbs in certain areas and everything, they're all those zombies are amputees. Um,
Hmm.
Zack Snyder wanted to use this for the movie to give it more realism. Now he could have used green screen, very expensive.
Yeah.
You could use green screen pretty easily, to wrap their limbs in, a green limb basically, and then just, you know, wiped it out in Photoshop or whatever program they're using. Um, which would cost a lot of money to do, but still they could have done it.
Mm.
But in this case, for that effect, the guy that jumps on him doesn't have legs in real life. There's another guy that's running after them that is missing his arm. Like that guy is actually
Hmm.
missing his arm.
Yeah.
So it was cool to actually see that, using practical effects and makeup, and using actual amputees for like the disfigured zombies. Um,
Yeah, thank goodness, because honestly, you it would be so sad to see this movie remade with, just all CGI, especially, because you've got a Savini cameo in it. Like, if Savini's going to be in it, you better be mad with practical effects. Otherwise, it's kind of a snubbing of nose at what is really fantastic about these earlier movies and the entire cult that Savini's built around practical effects and his role in some of these movies in the past. So,
yeah, no, yeah, definitely. And then we also get introduced to a dog named Chips.
yay!
Yay, a cute little dog.
Yeah, you
Um,
got to have a dog.
and then we get, the zombies end up killing one of the people that went down with them, Bart.
Mhm.
And the others set them on fire.
Yeah, Bart
Fire.
was the nice security guard too.
Yeah,
Bart was the original nice guy in the group of mall security.
he was the
Yeah,
youngest one. I think he was the youngest one in the group too.
yeah,
Yeah,
he was the one you could tell from the get-go when they're marching around, like, taking out, like, any zombies that were in the mall. He was the one that was having a harder time with, any of the, um, shooting or whatever. So, poor Bart.
yes. And in other parts of the mall, Luda is dying, but also
Yeah,
in labor. And
meanwhile
meanwhile, she's restrained and by Andre, and ends up dying in childbirth, and then she is reanimated, of course, and then Norma comes in and ends up killing her, and that leads to a gunfight.
a gunfight, yeah,
Yes, it's like, come
which,
on.
I feel like too that's I don't know, I was having a conversation with somebody about this movie, and they're like, it's so unnecessary," and I'm like, I don't think it is. I think it's actually something that could very well happen in a situation like this. They spend a lot of time talking about Andre's character being, kind of a guy that's, he's definitely met with the other side of the law a couple of times, and he obviously is trying his hardest to protect Luda to the extent that when she turns, you realize, oh snap, he's actually strapped her down. Like he's full on, he knew what was coming and he had her strapped down to this bed. And even at one point when she turns, he tries to I don't know, gag her with, a belt or something. I can't remember what he was using to prevent her from biting, to try and see this all the way through. So, emotions are high, and they had that whole discussion and argument around. We know what happens, with these people and when they turn. So I think protecting your family, in the middle of, having your child be delivered, I could definitely see something like that occurring. But yeah, it's kind of sad. And what was I'm sorry, the older lady, was it Norma?
Yeah. So
Is that what you said her
yeah,
name?
and Norma and Norma and Andre actually die
And Andre.
from the gunfight.
Yeah, and it's not a fast gunfight either.
No, it's pretty
I
quick.
mean,
Yeah,
go Norma, yeah, she's back and forth. There's at least, like, I wanna say 7 shots exchanged, if not more, so
yeah,
and then the great reveal.
and then the great reveal is that all the others end up coming and finding a zombie infant. And
Yeah,
yeah, ooh, zombie infant. We don't often get to see zombie infants in zombie
yeah,
movies. It's rare when they
yeah,
actually deal with kids. I mean, kid zombies are a dime a dozen in sometimes a lot of franchises because it's hard to see a child get zombified and then taken out.
mhm,
And I think Walking Dead did that pretty well. I think the first and second season they did a pretty good job with dealing with how you deal with zombie children.
mhm.
Like the first scene
Yeah,
you see at the Walking Dead is like a child gets basically shot in the head by Rick.
yeah, Rick. Yeah, the later, 28 franchise movies too, they definitely play it, especially the latest one, the Bone Temple, it's a band of kids, going in and, causing all sorts of destruction yeah, it's rough. I don't know. You want you want the zombie stuff to be left to the adults. You don't wanna have to deal, especially baby. Nobody wants that.
Yeah,
Or a dog.
or
They know what tugs at our heartstrings, and they
yes,
definitely bring both into this movie for sure.
oh yeah. So yeah, basically they have to kill the baby. Um, then they make this decision to leave the mall. Now doesn't come
Yeah.
at a very easy decision because um, the mall is currently safety, especially for the remaining security guards who have been guarding this mall this whole time. And basically it comes down almost down to a vote. Like we need to figure a way because our resources are going to run out, and
Mhm.
we're just going to die here. We're going to be held
Yeah,
up in
and
here and die.
douchey Steve has a boat, so we find out of course he has a boat, so that becomes part of the plan. Let me ask you, if you were, in this mall, which way would you have voted?
That's difficult because like leaving is a risk because right now
Mhm.
if at this point there is a sea of zombies in the parking lot, almost to the point where it's like there's something in the back of their mind that goes, we must visit the mall because that's what we did when we were alive. I don't know if you've ever seen Warm Bodies before.
I
um
love warm bodies.
I know it's sort of one of those YA type of
So
like
good.
zombie films. Like you're like,
Yeah.
oh, you'll fall in love to a zombie, and in the end, he becomes human again.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
yeah, I love Warm Bodies, but no, he was explaining in that movie as like we go back to our normal routines because that's what we did when we were alive. We don't really remember exactly why we're doing it, but we're doing it.
Right.
And they would show up in the
Yeah.
same way they would do it when they were alive, just roaming the
Mhm.
halls and everything. But in this
Yeah, it's almost
case,
like it's like a reversal of, we talk about like the reptilian brain that we all possess and how it causes us to act a certain primitive way in certain situations. If your reptilian brain is all you have left in this, new zombie state that you're in, would your human brain kind of start to? It's kind of a cool concept.
yeah, and it's really like it would be hard to figure out if like would I want to leave and how are we going to get past the sea of zombies in the first place, and then what are we going to encounter. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
major factors you have to factor in because the marina is not very close. Okay,
No.
so you have to take a pretty good long journey to get to this marina. First off, you would have to get out of the mall. You would have to get out of the garage first, and there are
Mhm.
zombies blocking that whole area. Which
Yeah.
they decide to make a like a reinforced bus with chainsaws and barbed wire, and basically it looks like
That was the
a
moment.
war bus. You're like, Well, this
Mm,
mall has some really interesting stuff that they do, like happen here.
that was the moment. Yeah, I referred to earlier where I'm like, hmm. Well, okay. Well, now they're welding. Okay, I guess maybe downstairs they have to have this operation to keep up with the generators and okay. Trying to rationalize it. They spend enough time on the reconstruction of these vehicles to make you think about it, but fortunately not enough to allow you to think too much about it. But yeah, they are heavy duty equipped. I don't know though. I'm looking at that sea of zombies out there. I don't get, they're shuttle buses. My vote is stay in the mall. Hands down. I'm not going out there. No way.
Yeah, and there were several instances where they're on the roof, trying to, you call for help, and even seeing military helicopters flying over, and they just bypassing them. I think the military probably basically quarantined off the whole area, so
Yeah,
it
they're
didn't
like,
matter.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry, you're dead. We can't
Mhm.
we can't risk it getting outside of quarantine. Well, we find out,
Yeah.
later that unfortunately that even the White House has been overrun by the
Mhm.
zombies. From that intro. So yeah, it's just chaos out there, and
Yeah.
you don't know what's out there. You can try to guess, but you're like, should we leave? There's some people. There's a lot of people split and whether they should have left or not. They didn't have
Mhm.
any way to farm and have to get like food like tomatoes or cabbage or anything else like that. There might have been a seed place somewhere in there, but they don't. I don't know if they had
See.
soil.
Mm. Right.
I don't know, but we didn't go through every single store at the mall. Sometimes there's things in there.
Mhm.
Like I know that Christown, before they closed a lot of other stores, I think it still does. It has a Costco in there,
Mhm.
and uh, so you have a Costco in there, and then you have a mall. So that
Right.
mall might be a little more sustainable because of Costco. Costco has gardening equipment, has soil, has a bunch of other stuff, so you can make it more sustainable.
Maybe a
Yeah,
rooftop garden.
yeah, rooftop garden. Yeah,
Mhm.
and yeah, because they could stand on top of the roof and everything. That's how Kenneth and Andy communicated. You just stand up there and just sit all day. And in this
Mhm.
instance, if they had that type of stuff, they could have made a rooftop garden and survived a little longer, hopefully. Even
Yeah.
if they
Yeah.
lost power, somehow figure out how to live without power. I don't know. Um, but they decide, in the end, to make the reinforced buses,
Yep, they're
which
going for it.
they should have really tested because that was a huge risk getting out of that garage and going to that sea of zombies. But before that,
Probably the Mhm.
they gotta rescue Andy because Andy has the
Oh,
firepower.
yeah. Yeah. Is it I it was funny because when I was watching I haven't seen this movie in a long time, and when I was watching it, I was like, "Yeah, they gotta go get Andy because 'cause they're friends with him," and I'm like, "Wait, no." What am I thinking? They're going to get Andy because Andy's got guns. Because Andy works at Andy's Artillery or whatever it is across the street. Um, and he's cool, but probably mostly he's got guns.
Yeah, and they try to send supplies to Andy, um,
Mhm.
which doesn't really work out for him.
Yeah, because he's starving, poor guy.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they load up the puppy and they send the puppy out, which yeah, everybody in the you immediately go to the website. Does the dog die? Um, see if you can continue watching the film because we can watch elderly people, babies, etc., get taken out, but we cannot see the dog die. Yeah,
people will.
dog gets over there, but
Yep. Uh,
dog lets zombies in.
yes, and we find out that Andy has been infected as well.
Poor
So
Andy.
poor Andy. Like I said, there's a story behind Andy for his last days and surviving and everything. Um, but yeah, it's they're able to end up getting over there themselves and getting more and collecting more ammunition. It's a very dangerous mission to get over.
Right, right. That's the scariest like, honestly, that to me, the outside between the mall and these buildings is the scariest part of this movie. You've got a lot of thrill ride moments of, from start to finish really, but that just this absolute sea of zombies that are out there. It is wall to wall of people just milling about waiting to eat your brains for sure.
Yeah, and so they basically get go to the sewers, and they finally get there. They kill Andy, and they rescue Nicole. Who Nicole decided to crash a truck into the store to save the dog.
Yeah. Nicole's not ha Nicole's she is one of us. She is,
She'll risk your
"What are
life
you
for the
doing,
dog.
Nicole?"
She'll risk your life for a
Yeah.
dog.
Mhm. Yeah.
but they,
Well, I mean, man, she's been through it. She even lost her dad. That dog is all she has.
but yeah, on the way back, Tucker ends up breaking his legs, and by his request, CJ has to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
um, yeah, basically when the zombies now are really like frenzied up. They are smashing through, the security barriers and the mall doors, which are are pretty tough. They're meant for the Black Friday crowd. And when I mean,
Right.
in this case, it's a black everything everyday crowd, but they're meant for like a run on the mall. Okay,
Yeah.
but right now, too many zombies are basically smashing through, and they have to evacuate. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, so they get in their vehicles, and these things have like chainsaws on the side, and they're like
So cool.
barbed wire on them, and it's just like these things are like they look like uh, you know man-made tanks.
Mad Max,
Yeah, like
Mad
Mad Max,
Max, Thunderdome, yeah, mhm,
but like last minute put together.
right.
I mean, they're not shoddy or anything like that, but like they're in a situation where they are. There's this literal scene. I remember the trailer, just like both buses like in this sea of zombies, just trying to
That's the
get through.
scariest.
Yes.
They're moving, they're all like, these things are hanging out that I'd lose my mind if I was in that vehicle. Just, thinking about now you're in a more confined space and you're about to be overtaken, but
Put a giant
they don't.
giant cattle guard on there, and then have little like chainsaws on the side to move them aside as they're chopping through.
Mhm.
That's a good idea to do. But they did the chainsaws on the side of the bus, sort of like chop them off, from the waist up. So during
Yeah.
the drive to the marina, Glenn accidentally kills Monica with a chainsaw,
Yeah,
and
that
they
was rough
crash.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big mistake.
But they learned though in that swarm sea of zombies, they learned, the trick that they start using more and more, which is propane tanks make great bombs.
They really do. They really do. Once you like they're penetrated and they ignite. Kaboom!
Yeah, yeah. So, that becomes the new preferred weapon of choice. Is it taking the and it's kind of the only way that they wind up, making it to the boat after have this horrific chainsaw accident in the back of one of the shuttles and chaos, and a shuttle crash. Now all of a sudden everybody's compromised again as they run toward the marina.
Yeah, and Steve ends up trying to abandon them. He's the one with the keys.
Yes.
It's like at least throw it to
Okay,
somebody. Whatever.
yeah. Moment of reflection actually going back a moment to when our SWAT team 5 or however many is trying to, like, make it out of Andy's artillery warehouse, and Steve was supposed to, like, hang by the door and help everybody get back, but doesn't. Steve just continue where CJ continues to be more and more of a team player and helping everybody and becoming kind of like one of the leaders, Steve just continues to show his true colors and do his best just to leave everybody behind. Um, but then he gets his. This is when we find out you don't necessarily need to get bit to turn. I don't remember how he had his wound, but he's got some sort of wound on his arm, and uh, a zombie up above him kind of, I don't know, he's just dripping blood and it goes right into the wound, which is like, oh, that's nasty. But now, yeah, Steve, he's an ugly zombie.
Yes. I like his soul, an ugly soul.
His true
His
colors,
true
yeah,
color,
his true.
yes. Well, when I saw him in Modern Family, I'm like, it's that asshole from Dawn of the Dead, and playing a completely
Yep.
opposite character from who he was
Mhm.
in Dawn of the Dead.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, that's
Suburban dad.
yeah, suburban, like goofy, almost to the point of like, are you dumb?
Mhm.
And then we find out,
Yeah.
no, he just plays that role. He just plays the dumb dad, but really, he's
Mhm.
always, he's always conniving. Anyway,
Yep.
but no, his character gets, his up and comings. Um,
Yeah, he
a-
did.
so Anna basically, she kills Steve and retrieves the boat keys, and then at the marina, basically they crash through, fences and everything, um, and they have to get to the boat, and they're being
Yeah.
surrounded by they running zombies. The zombies are coming at them, like right in the scene you have in the background. There's just
Mhm.
dozens and dozens and dozens of this horde of zombies coming at them, and CJ is trying to keep them away. Basically telling everybody, you need to go, 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 go. I'll hold them back. And basically makes like the ultimate sacrifice in the end. He really didn't
Yep.
want to make the ultimate sacrifice, but in the very end, he's like, "Well, screw it. I'm getting like overrun." And
Right.
as he's
A
getting,
flare gun and a propane tank.
yeah, I like how he did it too, because like he shoots the end of the flare gun,
Mhm.
and basically he knows what's about to happen, and as he's getting bitten by the zombies, and just blows up the whole vehicle with them in it, and it just creates
Yeah.
this huge explosion, which keeps the zombies back long enough.
Mhm. Buy
Um,
some time for
but
everybody to get on the boat.
buys him time.
Everybody but.
Yes, and then we discover, unfortunately, the character that we actually really gotten to know a lot. Michael, played by Jake Weber. Uh, he has been, he's been bitten.
Yeah.
Eh,
Anna's rebound.
Yes, Anna's report. She just lost her husband like the other day, and here's another
Mhm.
guy. She's like, oh, he's cuter than my husband. I'm
Yeah.
joking. No,
He's he seems sweet.
he seems
Nah.
sweet. Yes, but somebody that she trusts, and he's
Mhm.
been actually a pretty good leader. He stood up for her, and he's tried to make the best decisions for them and stuff. Um, Even when CJ was kind of being like, this, we shouldn't do this and this and this. And he's like, no, we need to do this because it's the right thing to do.
Mhm.
And anyway, Michael sends them off, and basically tells them, I can't go with you because I'm infected. And he ends his life right there as he's watching the boat sail away.
Yeah. So we're down to Anna, Kenneth, Nicole, whoever Nicole's boyfriend is.
Terry and Chips.
So much better. And the dog. They
And
set sail for the island with the idea that, they're going to get to a place where, there's no zombies and they'll be able
that's
to.
isolated
Yeah.
enough, hopefully.
Mhm. Yeah.
And dot 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 dot. Next scene. Well, they were wrong.
Yeah. You find Jerky Steve's porn camera. Steve's boat camera where he's had all of his trysts, and you get to watch the chaos unfold on the island of, nope, there's zombies there, unfortunately. And I like the way that they did this too, because you had, before they get to the island, you have these like things that happen on the boat. It's like, oh no, the engine's out. You're like, oh no, are they even going to make it to the island? Just little
Like food is running
flashes, which
out.
right. Yeah, food is right. Good, good way to tell the story, as this movie has kind of three separate, well, even more so because you have the television scenes, which we didn't talk about. One of the television scenes, which was another cameo, one of the original actors from the 78 Dawn of the Dead
Oh yeah.
plays a minister. Yeah, talking about, and he uses the famous line that he used, which is something, I don't know if you have it written down, but something about when, hell overflows, when the gates of hell are, filled, they spill onto the earth. But the storytelling throughout this movie in bits and pieces, I think, is such a fun way to keep the pacing going, and get a lot more action and a lot more sort of a prequel and post storytelling too, which is, we I don't know how many times you've done it, but when I go and see any sort of horror movie in the theater, you're not allowed to stand up until those lights come on because you never know what you're going to miss. Um, so yeah, they get to the island, and well, there's a cooler, I think. There's a cooler with a zombie's head in it. They run out of fuel, and then the engine catches fire, and
Yeah.
yeah, then they get to the island and there's zombies everywhere. So
And
who survives?
we don't know exactly. We just see the last bit of footage, like found footage of them running for their life because running back to the boat because the island is overrun with zombies as well. The line you were
I'll tell
looking
you
at
who.
it says
Oh,
is when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
that's the one. That's the one. Which
Yeah.
is like such a cool callback, and well played with these television images. But I will tell you who I believe survives, and that's the dog.
The, the dog survives somehow. Everyone else gets torn apart, but the dog
Mhm.
survives.
Dog makes it.
The dog, the
Yay, the
dog,
dog
the
doesn't
dog
die.
is the newt of the aliens universe.
That's it. That is it. It's the new cockroach is the human canine. And then another great song, Jim Carroll's Lots of People Who Died, or People Who Died, of people who loved the movie Basketball Diaries or read the book. That's who the story is about. But I love that it's such a terrible song, but it has such a great kind of like early 80s punk beat to it. More fantastic music, just a great soundtrack throughout this entire movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then, well, I would be remiss, I guess, if we've gone all the way to the end. Then you get credits and you get Disturbed's Real, Down with the Sickness, which is another great song.
Oh
So
yeah,
great, great music throughout.
I've done that in karaoke. That's a fun one to do.
Have you really?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
it kills your throat, but yeah, I've done it before.
Mm, I've
But
only done that.
yeah.
That ooh, wah.
We're getting down to the end of the review. So let me get your last thoughts on the film and then your rating of the film, and I'll give mine.
Yeah. I love this movie. Mentioned it already, but there's so many times when you get a remake and you're mad and angry and you wish it never would have happened, especially in the age of, we now have green screen and it's readily available. You get a lot of these 70 movie remakes or even 80 movie remakes now, and it falls so flat because it feels like so much is lost from the original um, uh, production, the practical effects, the way the story was told. It just always feels trite to me. And this one, I think, is this is- I flinch. I think it's an improvement upon the original. Don't at me, but it is because the I think certain zombie movies from the 70s, they feel a little a little too campy. They feel a little too cheesy. I love them. There's a special place in my heart for the original. It's right there next to Charlton Heston's Omega Man and some others. Um, but this was such a necessary redo, I believe. It gave a current audience something that they can really enjoy. I've had moments where, my kids have come in and I'm watching one of those great 70s zombie movies. Like they come in, they look at the TV and they instantly exit stage left because they just can't buy into it. It's just a little too cheesy.
Yeah.
Um this, it wasn't the first, movie to bring in the zombies running, but it was certainly one of the earliest, maybe the 2nd or 3rd. Um, so having fast zombies now suddenly, is a great concept, and funny enough, I saw this movie before I saw 28 Days Later, which is what kind of introduced the world to the fast zombie, I think. I
Well,
believe that was the OG.
yeah, I think 28 Days Later was 2002.
Yeah,
Danny Boyle's. Yeah, those type of zombies, are frightening when they're running at you because they are not
they
getting
run with their
tired.
arms behind.
Yeah, they're not getting
Yeah,
tired. They can outrun you because they're not gonna, get out of breath.
right, right. And, I wound up seeing that movie probably 2 years after I saw this one, so this was kind of like this was probably my first introduction. Um, and it just adds so much to, the concept, and I think as time has gone on, there's been more added to it, which how do you add to a zombie movie? We keep finding ways to do it. You mentioned some of my favorites, Warm Bodies. We talked about World War Z and the anthill zombies, which is crazy. You think about that, idea being brought into this with the mall and that horde of zombies in the road. I would have been getting on that shuttle. My vote would have been a thumbs up instantaneously because there's no winning. Um, I love the music. I feel like the pacing's good. Now I want to talk about the first 10 minutes. So the first 10 minutes of this movie are so cool. And anybody who knows this movie knows that it's a big piece to why everybody loves this movie. It's just action packed. I have a little bit of a beef with the first 10 minutes because I've talked about it before. I hate spoilers, and I actually saw the first 10 minutes of this movie originally on some, I wanna say it wasn't like a Letterman or something, but I saw the first 10 minutes of this movie late at night, and it true made me wanna go see this movie, but I hated seeing the whole first thing. It was uncut on TV late at night, cable. Um, so uh, mad respect to the movement that's happening now where we, leave a lot of the movie out or maybe even just choose to be deceptive and make people think the movie is totally about something else than what it, is going to be about. But it's hard to deny that the opening scene isn't one of the most epic opening scenes. I think zombie-wise only now outdone by maybe, the newer, and I forget the title again, we talked about this when we were picking, movie reviews, after our last record, but the new Vegas, zombie movie, has a really rad, title sequence, but it's a great flick. Anytime Tom Savini pops up in a movie, I get super excited and happy. Great cast. Just every time you're watching this movie, you're like, "Oh, hey, I know that guy. Oh, hey, I know her." Um, and an all-round good telling of the story. I think that they really did more of an homage to Romero rather than a disservice, which does happen often. So all in all, I'll go 7 on this one.
Okay, very fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, this is definitely one of the classic zombie movies that I recommend to people who are either trying to get into the zombie, genre, or
Mhm.
they are looking for another zombie movie to see, then they have not seen this one. Especially some of the newer generation, like Gen Zs, the young people,
Mhm.
the youngins to
The
us,
youngest.
the youngins to
Mhm.
us, get off my lawn, type of
Mhm.
people.
We're not that old yet.
Are we? Are we? We said that to other people when we were younger. We were like, "You're old."
I'm I'm definitely in the get off my lawn phase. Because I've
but
seen too many movies like this.
yes, exactly. It's aged us. But
Mm.
I do like how they, especially updated the George Romero model. Now, nothing against George Romero and his earlier movies. They had a lot to say back then, but made for more of a modern age and with updated graphics and updated makeup and maybe a little bit of better dialogue. There was a
Mhm.
recent, no, not recent. Actually, I think this was like it was the 1990s. What was it? Um, Night of the Living Dead remake. Because that
Mhm.
is actually anybody can make that movie because he didn't
Right.
his copyright on that movie ran out a long time ago. So basically,
Mhm.
a kid in his basement can make that movie and not get sued. But yeah, that one was with what was it, Tony Todd and Patricia Tallman, um,
Mhm.
playing the same roles, as the original, but it ends completely different. And I really like how they
Mhm.
dealt with characters in there, because like Barbara in Night of the Living Dead was such a weak character. Like such
Yeah.
a to the point where like I
But
would almost shove her out the door of like you're gonna get us all killed.
mhm. Right. But I
um
feel like very of the times, and especially the way Romero kind of, he black and whited that film in the best of ways, and everybody's dressed a little bit older. The original Night of the Living Dead feels like it's an older movie than what it actually is.
yeah,
That's what you're gonna get from a lot of women back then, is that original "They're coming to get you, Barbara."
and I got to meet that actress. She's actually really nice. So
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah. So yeah, I really like the updated version of Dawn of the Dead. I thought they Zack Snyder and James Gunn did a very good job reestablishing this into the zombie universe and giving us, unlike the zombies of the original Dawn of the Dead, where they enter the mall and they're slow moving zombies and slowly tearing out people's entrails.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
actually an interesting scene where you see guys like intestines being spread out all over the place.
Mhm.
um we have like fast moving zombies that are can bash through walls and move so quickly that you don't have really time to react, uh
Mhm.
and giving us some characters in here that like I think they're the build up to their character, they did a good job with that. And you're sad when they die because you're like,
Yeah.
I was hoping that they would survive because they sorry about that, they have come a
You
long
got to kill
way.
him.
Yeah, they come a
Yeah.
long way. And like CJ's character like made an ultimate sacrifice after kind of being a kind of an asshole at the beginning.
Mhm.
And um then we have like Michael, who ends up having to off himself because he could have kept that completely a secret, but that would have been selfish,
Mhm.
and he would have killed
Yeah.
everybody on that boat.
Yeah. Before they
so
got killed.
so he's like, you know what, it's not fair to them, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna do the least selfish thing to do, I can, and off myself, tell them they have to leave without me.
Mhm.
So like I said, the music was incredible. I love the soundtrack on here.
Yeah. Awesome soundtrack.
The music really, if you don't have good music for a movie, it's hard to really get the emotion of the scene. um I saw this movie recently called Project Hail Mary, and the
Yeah,
the,
you
mu-
liked it.
the music in this movie really gets you into the scenes. It is like it uplifts you, it makes you feel
Mhm.
something, and when you have a really good composer in the back, who did the music for this? Tyler Bates. I thought he did a really good job with the mixture of type of music he had in here, even with Richard Cheese's version of "Down with the
Yeah,
Sickness."
it's so fun. Yeah, I saw your posted a review about Hail Mary and Project Hail Mary, and you really like that one. It wasn't on my list to see, but after I saw your nod, I was gonna check that out.
Yeah, I mean, has nothing to do with horror movies, but in my opinion,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
probably, in my opinion, it would probably get Best Picture nomination. They spent
Yeah. Nice.
like $248 million on it, and
Mhm.
um, they've made like 3 times that since
Oh,
then.
wow.
Yeah,
God,
it's st-
movies make a lot of money these days, don't they?
well when they're good, and
Mhm.
basically, what was it? I think the actor who's in there, Ryan Gosling, said that they need to start making movies that will get people back into theaters, but like good movies, not just like
Yeah.
throwaway movies because we can, because they're part of a
Mhm.
major franchise or a sequel franchise. We need to make good stories and have directors that understand how to, adapt them from either a book or a screenplay or anything, and not just do it
Mhm.
because he's been thrown money at. And people will watch it. People will go to the theaters
Yeah.
if it means something to them. Um, it was
Like
hard. It was hard enough for
hope,
people to get out of the theater after COVID.
right?
Anything
Right.
after
I'm a big
21.
theater supporter.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the theater probably, but you're right. There are most of the blockbusters these days are there. It's a lot of special effects, and a lot of actually a lot of I'm not going to pick on that particular actor, but a lot of kind of new sequels to old 80s movies, and um this one, it has that kind of special feeling to it for sure. And then we've got Disclosure Day coming up, Spielberg. So hopefully we'll get back to that because I don't know. Is there anything better than going into a theater and watching a movie? I don't think so.
Well, have it.
Sorry, your
Yeah,
review. We
yeah.
squirrel hunted.
We Squirrel Hunted. Yeah. So yeah, I saw this movie in the theaters. So I really enjoyed
Oh,
it.
cool.
I'm back in the day I would go see horror movies more often than I do now. I more wait for them on
Hmm.
like digital and everything these days. But back in the day, I used to go to a lot of horror movies, and this is one of the movies I went to see in the theaters. I also went to see 28 Days Later as well in the theaters. That was fun.
Hmm. Nice.
I was sitting in, for both movies. I was sitting next to like a group of girls, and they just like jump out of their seat anytime the zombies pop up. I don't know these people. They just show up. They're like either behind me or on the side of me in the movie
Mhm.
theater, and they just like. It's funny. Some people can take horror movies, and some people just like are there just to jump.
Oh, oh, to be
Uh,
scared
oh,
again.
to be scared. And I'm sitting there going, I wish I was like that, but I've been watching
Oh, I
literally
know.
horror movies since I was a toddler. So it's hard.
Mm,
It's hard to scare me. It's hard to make me actually turn my head or even like flinch. So
mm.
I flinch at real blood. I don't flinch at like movie blood. So I really like the makeup in here. I love the special effects they have in here. Very little to no CGI they used in this film. Um,
Mhm.
in which unfortunately, Zack Snyder later on, it's all like slow mo, and it's
Yeah.
like CGI blood, like in
Right,
here,
right,
he's very grounded. For being a Zack Snyder film, which is kind of shocking.
right.
You're like going back. Why can't he go back to that type of filming? I don't know. They give him way too much
Well,
money
and
sometimes.
it's also too we all know if you listen to this podcast, you know how JPOOL feels about CGI blood for sure. But this is also good in that again, not to be too harsh on the original, but the original Dawn of the Dead was one of those like 70s films where the blood was weirdly neon colored, and as soon as I see that 70s neon colored blood, it's just like, okay, here we go. There is a whole subgenre, built around that highly visual red neon, and I definitely respect it, but it's just so hard to digest it and think that it's real whatsoever. It's nice to, see Dawn of the Dead with not CGI blood, so JPOOL is happy, but also not bright red neon, obviously not blood either. So yeah, definitely great practical effects in here.
Oh yeah, and the movie you were thinking of was Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. Oh
Yeah,
yes, okay, Army
yeah,
of the Dead.
yep,
Which touche, it's his movie as well.
yep.
Um,
Touche.
great opening sequence.
He likes those opening sequences, doesn't he?
He really does. I swear that is probably the only one next to this. Maybe also the Evil Dead Risen had a great opening sequence too, but nowhere near as fast paced as this or Army of the Dead. Those are both fantastic. So Zach, it's the Zach attack. It's the 10 minutes of. I wonder. Do you happen to know how long Army of the Dead's opening sequence of fun
I
was?
would have to look that up again.
I feel like he doubled down. I feel like he
Yeah,
went 20 minutes.
yeah, it did seem a little longer. So this movie was $26 million budget. It only made $102.3 million at the box office, so it made its money back. It wasn't crazy at the box office. The running time is actually only 100 minutes, so it's like it's not a short movie, but it is not a very. You can sit through it and go like, "Oh, that was it." Like
Mhm.
it's not a very big storyline. It's more like they end up at a mall, they leave a mall, and then they try to survive on the water. That's basically it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So there's not much in the way of like complicated storyline here. But for being such, a short film, especially in the horror genre, this has gone on the horror and zombie lists that people have made up throughout the years as being in like those top lists of zombie
Mhm.
movies to go see, or even in horror. Just to, if you see like the top 100, horror films, this will show up on a lot of them. So
Absolutely.
definitely, I would give this. You gave it a 7. I would give it a 7.5. It is
Okay.
is not a perfect film, but it is one of those films that I highly recommend to anybody if they are into that genre, or they just want to see just a fun, like a horror film, um, and late night with your friends, or back in the day, it was like you went and rented on Friday nights. You went to Blockbuster and picked up a film and maybe a pizza and then candy and popcorn, and went back home, and you know that's the thing you put in the with the cassette tape. I don't know. Some of our
Mhm.
viewers might not, or even listeners might not even know what those VCR is. What is a VCR? A video cassette recorder.
Man alive, I was at I was at oh goodness. Half Price Books, and they had the what the hell are they called? The laser discs. I had forgotten all about that. Do you remember laser discs that were like the size of a record?
Oh
Wait,
yeah.
do you have one? Did you tell me you have a laser disc player?
No, I don't have a player. I have some laser
Okay.
discs that I collected because the covers are awesome. Like I have the
Yeah,
Terminator
I'd
2
forgotten all
like
about that.
laser disc because the cover is wraparound cover is epic, and so if the movie was really long, it would come in like 2 discs. So you would have to watch one half and then switch the disc and put the other half of the movie in. Kind of like back in the day. Remember Titanic came in 2 tapes because it was
Oh
such a
yeah.
long movie.
Oh yeah.
And for
Oh
some
yeah.
reason, that second tape always had that one part in the movie where you had to track it because for some reason people kept rewinding over and over and over.
Mhm.
If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
How about having to send back in the mail a Netflix DVD because it was a corrupt disc. Yeah, like my kids were like, what? What? It came in the mail?" I'm like, Netflix came in the mail." And it was the greatest thing in the world for me because let me tell you, my Hollywood Video, and OG Moviola, Washington State, um, I had long fine lists. I was never returning movies on time. When Netflix came out and you could keep 3 movies as long as you wanted, it was the first subscription I think I ever got as an adult, but probably wound up saving me way more money.
Yeah,
Oh, the
those
days.
were the days.
Oh, the days.
So yeah, that is my rating for this film, a 7.5, and you gave it a 7.
Yeah, can I entertain one last question before we wrap?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just because I couldn't help myself. I went to Rotten Tomatoes and asked what their top zombie movies are, and it gave me a list of 100. Now we certainly cannot do a list of 100, but do you want to take a guess at like maybe which movies made the top 10?
Um,
You can't look. You
I
can't go under
know,
your
I know. So as far as like
It's
horror or
surprising.
horror zombies.
Zombies.
Okay,
It's best 100 best zombie movies ranked
I would
by
say
Rotten Tomatoes.
would Dawn of the Dead 2004 be like number 6?
Dawn of the Dead 2004 didn't come in until number 23. Can you believe
Really?
that?
Wow.
This list is kind of shocking, honestly.
What did it give you for
I've
top
only gone
10?
to top 10 is, I'm going to count down to number 1. It's a very surprising list. Number 10, Dead Alive.
Okay.
I don't even recall this movie, so I'm gonna have to do a watch and see if I've seen it before. Zombieland made number 9, which
Uh,
I just watched Zombieland back when I was at the cabin a couple of weeks ago, and it's great. I don't know if it would beat out Dawn of the Dead, but Rotten Tomatoes seem to think so. Number 8, Blood Quantum, not recalling at all. Number 7, Wreck, as in record, which is a
yes.
great movie. Number 6, Reanimator, which is a great movie. Number 5, the OG Dawn of the Dead. So they highly disagree with me, thinking that 2004 is a better version than 1978. Number 4, my personal favorite zombie movie, Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Number 3, this is what shocks me. Okay, before we do top 3, what do you think is number 1?
Well, it's not 28 days later.
No. Number 1 has to be what it isn't on this list. To me, number 1 is Night of the Living Dead. It's not. Night of the Living Dead comes in at number 3, which is crazy to me. That started it all. Number 2, Train to Busan, which
Oh wow.
that's pretty great. Yeah, that's pretty great 'cause
That's jumped up. Last time I think I checked a list like that, that jumped up way up.
yeah, and that's a great movie. I mean, I know you've seen it. If anybody that's listening hasn't, go see it. Number 1 is One Cut of the Dead from 2017. Haven't even seen
I
this.
haven't seen it either. I think I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it either. So being number
It's
1, wow.
directed by Shinichiro Uda. I'm probably butchering that. Obviously, it's a Japanese film by the names casted, um, starring Takayuki. I'm not even gonna try. I'm just gonna get massive amounts of hate mail. I'm not gonna do it. But it says brainy and bloody in equal measure. One Cut of the Dead reanimates the moribund moribund zombie genre with a refreshing blend of formal daring and clever satire. So I'd probably love it because it sounds like a funny one and I love my comedy horror.
It's gonna be probably all
But
subtitles though.
Yeah, probably, but
Probably.
maybe that'll be a weekend watch for me. So, yeah, but crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many. As I scrolled back, I definitely saw Pontypool in the top 25, which I'm, ever so thankful for you introducing that movie to me as a film because I simply thought it was an audio. Warm Bodies is in here in the top 25, so there's some good ones in here.
Yeah. So, what was it? Dead Alive is actually. It depends on where you are because it's also known as Brain Dead. It was directed by Peter
Okay.
Jackson.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks familiar to me. I'm just looking at like a cover basically, but I'll have to pop that
It
one
looks like
in.
a skeleton coming out of a mouth and everything. If you look at
Uh-huh.
that cover,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Mhm.
it's one of like Peter Jackson's early films, uh, in '92, way before he did Lord
Yeah.
of the Rings. So
Way before Lord of the Rings.
yes. So yeah,
All right.
that is our review for Dawn of the Dead. Are you guys gonna check it out? You should check it out. Currently, it's not available
Better.
on any streaming right now, which is unfortunate. Um, but if you're able to track it down, or go if you're in Arizona, go to your local Zia Records, which I constantly
I
go
just
to.
picked it up. I
Yes.
just picked it up. And it's got I didn't watch it this way, but apparently the copy that I have, Zack Snyder basically gives commentary all the way through the movie.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if so
I have that
okay.
one.
So I'm excited to do a rewatch on it.
So yeah, definitely check this movie out. It is a classic. It is one of those top for me, like top 10 favorite zombie
For
films,
sure.
that I'll definitely put in that category. And thank you everybody for watching. You can definitely check me out on my socials at Good Nerd Corner on everything. And LC, fire away at your socials.
LC, LDCD.
Awesome. And
That's it.
check her out on TikTok.
Nope, it's TikTok.
All the TikToks. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And if you're bitten, don't come anywhere near me.
Yeah, please.
And
I'm staying in
remember,
the mall.
yes, and remember to enjoy your chimichanga.